SoundPEATS have a lot of noise cancelling earbuds. They have a total of 5 now with the inclusion of their latest bud, the Life earbud. Weird name, but these retail for $39 US, putting them in line with their cheapest offering, the T3, while the T2, the Air3 Pro, and the Mini Pro all retail for $59. So today I'm gonna compare the Life to all the noise cancelling earbuds, because you never know with SoundPEATS. Sometimes the cheaper buds have better features and quality than the more expensive buds. And the Life definitely follows with this. So let's get straight into it, starting with the design. And the Life here, you can see they've kind of taken a note from their own bud, the H2. Exactly the same design, just a different color, and the stem is a little bit shorter. So this kind of upgraded H2 design resembles the Air3 Pro very closely. It's a very similar size, very similar ergonomics. The Air3 Pro is still a little bit more compact, but the Air3 Pro easily had the best comfort and security out of all their noise cancelling earbuds. So the Life here comes in second place. They're a pair that I can wear for long periods. In terms of security, they stay in really well. They're not my go-to training bud. They do kind of budge out and I have to readjust them a little bit. And this is the same with the T3, the T2, and the Mini Pro. They're not as comfortable as the Life and the Air3 Pro. Still pretty solid. And in terms of how secure the buds stay in, they're also just behind the Life. Now, when it comes to the IPX rating, all the pairs here have either an IPX4 or IPX5 water resistant rating. On one of my spec sheets for the Life, it said 5. On the SoundPEATS website, it said 4. Doesn't really matter. Basically, all pairs fine for splashes of water. Use in the rain, you just can't have any buds submerged in water. Now with battery life, I've got a bit of a pet peeve here. You're getting an advertised 5 hours from the buds, 25 hours in total. That's with noise cancelling off. Noise cancelling on, I don't know. SoundPEATS doesn't tell me or have it online. So I'm assuming it's gonna go to 4 hours from the buds, 20 hours in total. But anyway, here's my results I got on all the earbuds. Noise cancelling on, 70% volume tested on an iPhone XS. There you go, there are all the numbers there. Pause and have a longer look if you want. Also keep in mind, there's no fast charging or wireless charging on any of the buds here today. Now in terms of case size, the Life is definitely the chunkiest out of all the pairs here. Considering its total battery life, not very impressive. And it has a similar level of chunk to the T3, but the T3 is overall slightly smaller. The T2 comes next. It's a sort of bigger case, but it is a little bit thinner. And next we have the Air3 Pro, similar size to the T2, also a little bit thinner. And then finally, the Mini Pro is the smallest overall, tiny bit thicker than the Air3 Pro, but I kind of rank them at a similar size overall. So comparing the smallest case, Mini Pro, to the Life, you can see it's noticeably bigger, a little bit chunkier, but the Life, not terrible. Now with controls, same as usual for SoundPEATS, you can control everything, including volume up and down. You just can't skip tracks back because that requires a triple tap on the left earbud. And it would be nice to have the option in the app to change that function to skipping tracks back, because you can just turn the game mode on and off in the app. But you do have the option to disable the single tap so you don't accidentally activate your earbuds, but you will lose your volume control, of course. And do keep in mind, it's only gonna be the Life, the Air3 Pro, and the Mini Pro that are compatible with the SoundPEATS app. But if you're an iPhone user, I'm only gonna guarantee that the Life will work with the app, because the Mini Pro and Air3 Pro require a firmware update, which I just could not get to work on my iPhone 12 Pro with the SoundPEATS app. So lucky I have a Samsung S10e. I went to that app, the firmware worked really well. And then once I updated the firmware, I could go back to my iPhone and then it worked with the app. So keep that in mind if you have a spare Android phone, or borrow someone's phone for the Mini Pro and the Air3 Pro to work with the phone on iPhone, to work with an iPhone. So the app is thankfully working now. It's still a little bit buggy. It definitely works better on Android, but nice work, SoundPEATS. Keep at it. Now in terms of connectivity, all the buds here today have Bluetooth 5.2, except for the T3, they have Bluetooth 5.1. And only the Air3 Pro and the Mini Pro have aptX and aptX adaptive. So just SBC and AAC on the Life. But thankfully the Life still have a low latency gaming mode, which leaves just the Life, the Air3 Pro, and the Mini Pro that have a low latency gaming mode. So here are the results I got in my latency test. I'm curious to see the difference, because the Life is using a different chip to the Mini Pro and the Air3 Pro. So there you go, pause it there if you want, if you're interested in gaming latency results. Generally, if you're around 200 milliseconds, that's as low as it gets. You can see the T3 It's pretty bad. So for gaming, definitely don't go the T3. To finish off here, no pairs have multi-pairing, but you can use a left or right earbud individually on all the pairs, leave one earbud in the case, and it still works in mono mode, so you hear both audio channels coming out of the one earbud. Now it's microphone time. Let's head on outside and see how all the microphones compare. All right, so here I am in the outside world, currently recording off my iPhone 12 Pro, so you can get an idea of how noisy it is out here right now. All right, so here is the call quality of the SoundPEATS T2 on this nice busy motorway here right now. All right, so here is the call quality of the SoundPEATS T3 on this nice busy motorway here right now. All right, so here's a microphone test of the SoundPEATS Mini Pro. Cars zooming around here, making it very noisy. Hopefully the mics are blocking everything out. All right, so here is the microphone quality of the SoundPEATS Air3 Pro on this nice busy motorway here right now. All right, and finishing off the microphone quality here with the latest earbud, the Life earbud. Hopefully it's the best out of all the earbuds here. Let me know things down in the comments below. All right, now it's time to rank the noise cancelling. How I test my noise cancelling to keep it even. I've got a soundbar and I play simulation, train, plane, and crowd noise. Number one, we have the T2. Second place, we've got the Air3 Pro and the Mini Pro. Third place, closely followed by Life, the Life. And then last place, the T3. Not very good noise cancelling. So with all these earbuds, the T2 are a standout. Here's my overall ANC ranking so you can see where these buds compare to every bud that I have tested. T2 in a little bit of a league of their own. Air3 Pro and Mini Pro only just better than the Life here. And basically taking the T2 out, all these pairs here, good at consistent sounds, low frequency sounds. It's like weights clanging around in the gym and voices, high frequency sounds. Not the best. Now with the transparency mode, just like the noise cancelling, the T2 are number one. You just kind of hear things a lot easier. It's slightly amplified, but second place are the Life earbuds. Not as clear as the T2, but solid. In third place, the Air3 Pro and T3. In last place, the Air3 Pro. Not very good. It's kind of difficult to hear the difference between transparency off and transparency on. Now we're going to talk about something very important with budget noise cancelling earbuds, and that is EQ shift. What does that mean? It's basically how your sound quality changes with noise cancelling on compared to noise cancelling off compared to transparency mode. Normally transparency mode and noise cancelling off, the buzz will perform the same, and noise cancelling on, the sound quality can change a little bit. So first, the T2, probably the worst out of all the pairs. You get about a 20% loss in overall detail and clarity. You also lose a little bit of bass. On the Mini Pro, also quite noticeable. You lose about 20% of your bass, but your clarity and treble kind of increases a bit. Air3 Pro, not as bad. You lose about 10% of bass. Everything else stays the same. The T3, barely any noticeable difference. And thankfully here, the Life, barely any EQ shift. This is the best SoundPEATS has ever produced in terms of their EQ not shifting with noise cancelling on. So keep in mind what I just said then when I talk about sound quality, but first starting with volume. All the pairs here go nice and loud. It's only the Air3 Pro that's like one click less than the rest, but all the buds above 80%, you're in kind of hearing loss territory. So be cautious of your hearing, people. Now onto the sound of the Life itself. This is classic SoundPEATS, bass boosted in both sub bass and mid bass. It's not over the top. I'm rating it a 7.5 out of 10 on my subwoofer scale. So SoundPEATS have way bassier buds like the Sonic, the H2, the H1, but mids here are very nice. It's a pretty smooth mid-range, so nothing feels forced. Vocals are nice and clear, instrumentation is nice and clear, and the upper mids are dialed back slightly. The treble is dialed back the most though, and that's my only complaint. The treble is just dialed back a little bit, lacks sparkle and lacks a little bit of detail, but the benefit of having a treble response like this is that it rarely gets harsh even at higher volumes. But this doesn't really matter because of course you can just jump in the app, play around with the EQ. I increase the upper mids and treble a little bit, and I think they sound quite a bit better. So with my EQ settings here, I found hi-hats, crashes, higher pitched vocals come through a bit clearer. Snare drums have a bit of extra snap. Still, they sound pretty solid with the EQ off as well. You've also got some presets in there, which are fun to play around with, and they also have an adaptive EQ. What does this mean? Basically, you run through a quick hearing test and it'll create a custom EQ based off the test. For me, it didn't sound very good at all, but it might work for you, let me know. But now I'm gonna compare the Life to all the earbuds, keeping in mind this is with noise cancelling on and with no EQ settings. First comparison, we have the T3. They are pushing out a little bit of extra sub bass and mid bass. have a kind of more forward sound. Again, they don't get affected at all by the EQ shift. So comparing the two here, the T3 is just a bit bassier, a little bit more forward with the treble and the vocals. Can get a little bit messy due to this. There's just a lot going on. The Life are kind of like the T3, a little bit more balanced, a little bit more held back. Honestly, both sound very good. Bassier versus a little bit more balanced. Now comparing to the T2 does push out a much nicer treble response, has some extra sparkle to it. The bass is pretty close on both pairs, but mids are much more forward and just you get a better experience with the mid-range on the Life. Keeping in mind the T2 sound a little bit better when you have noise cancelling off. Now the Mini Pro, these are pushing out a very in-your-face sound with upper mids and treble, quite boosted to the point of getting a little bit harsh and a little bit over the top. But a big standout I noticed was with the Mini Pro, things like snare drum hits, just had a lot of extra snap and presence. You're getting slightly less bass than the Life here, so a much more relaxed tuning on the Life, and overall just a little bit warmer, so it depends what you like there. Air3 Pro are pushing out slightly less bass. The treble has a little bit of extra sparkle, but the mid-range, again, much nicer on the Life here. Vocals come forward, instrumentation has a little bit more presence, you get better separation. So pretty close there. I can't really say one's better because you can just EQ the Air3 Pro or the Life and kind of get them close to each other. So both sounding very solid. If I was to only choose one, I'd go for the Life. So overall, sound quality wise, you're not getting anything spectacular. They are a cheaper pair and they are holding up to those more expensive buds though. Now the question is, should you get the Life or fork out a little bit more for their more premium pairs? The only real advantages of the Air3 Pro and Mini Pro is the smaller cases, slightly better noise cancelling, and aptX adaptive. But if you don't need those features, Life has everything that they have: the low latency mode, the solid fit, and most importantly, the app support. But the biggest standout is the lack of EQ shift on the Life. Now the T3 and T2 are lacking the low latency mode and also lacking the app support. I'd say the T3 is pretty redundant nowadays. The T2, still a pretty solid option if you're looking for pure noise cancelling performance. So there you go, hopefully that helped. If you like your SoundPEATS, check out my SoundPEATS ranked video where I compared all the earbuds in the one video. So check that out. In the meantime, stay picky. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.